Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. We just got an awesome collaboration quest with Omega from Final Fantasy XIV entering Monster Hunter Wilds. But on the flip side, just starting the other day, we got a permanent quest addition of the collaboration with Monster Hunter in Final Fantasy XIV. So I wanted to show you the quest because I know that a lot of you may not have the game, and you also need to have cleared the latest expansion in order to face it. So I'm going to show you off the general vibe of how they did it, and show you both the regular hunt and the extreme. Because even if you don't play MMOs or you don't really care about Final Fantasy XIV, it is very interesting to see how they take a monster's design and how they take all of its fight design and the stuff that it does and translate it into an MMO so you can see how that got sort of changed. Maybe it'll help you understand the sort of effort that the team went through with Omega, because Omega does not play like a traditional raid. In Monster Hunter, it's kind of a hybrid mix. It's got some elements of it, but it's definitely not the same. One thing I do like is that they tied the story together. So they're talking about how Omega entered the world of Monster Hunter Wilds, but the portal it opened up sucked in a guardian, Arkveld, which was nearby. And of course this feline and their sacred. Now I'm going to just vote that the guardian Arkveld saw Omega and said, I'm out of here. And didn't get sucked through a portal. But it's a fun little quest. It's not long. Basically, you'll meet the cute little feline. You'll go on an investigation with it to sort of look for tracks. So they're just trying to do a good job of explaining the vibe and the essence of Monster Hunter. Here's me on my Rathalos mount. This is from their first collaboration, which was back in Stormblood a few expansions ago. That was a very fun hunt. In that one, they actually tried to recreate the Monster Hunter experience in Final Fantasy, where this time they're going more towards traditional, converting it into the known format. So you eventually find the tracks for Arkveld. I'm going to shut up here so you can see the cinematic because it's pretty cool, but nature is fighting back and you've got yourself a dung bomb to take care of the quarrel. Not that it'll work on Arkveld, but it will work on the other monster who is trying to engage it. Yeah, so I'm not going to explain the entire fight, I'm just going to show you, but I figure it'd be nice to talk through it just so that you're not just sitting there watching, not knowing what's going on. If you notice its arms raised, that's the side it's going to slam, so you want to go all the way to the other side of its hitbox, because it's a pretty big, larger than half arena cleave, as we say in Final Fantasy XIV. The whole idea of the MMO or FF14 here is that you have sort of a rotation. You've got a skill wheel that circles, and you don't want to drop it. You want to make sure that you're casting anything that does that skill wheel without dropping it. All the meanwhile doing combos and figuring out the right spells to do, like mitigation or healing, while also dodging a lot of mechanics. So everything is very telegraphed. Sometimes you get a nice little marker like that. Sometimes you have to watch the boss and figure out what they're about to do. This white line here, he'll zip down the middle and blow up anybody who's in the middle, so you don't want to be in that AoE. And here he goes again with the arm up. You'll notice that I had been doing the extreme version, which is why I keep dodging to the other side, get hit here. Cool thing with the Monster Hunter quest, and they did this with Rathalos, is that they give you 10 Mega Potions, and you can just click in R3 if you're on controller, and it will instantly heal all of your health, which is awesome. I wish everybody would use it more often so that the healers don't have to worry too much about healing. Here he's just doing a really cool dive and smash. The idea is you just don't want to be in any of the overlapping circles when they go off. The ever so famous stack marker means he's going to do a group attack, so everyone needs to group together, pop down any skills that might reduce damage so that people don't die, and it's just shared amongst everybody. He's up again, so going to his right hand side. I really like the idea of this MMO design. I love having mechanics to figure out. Maybe not Savage, where Savage mechanics are more puzzle oriented, which there's one of them in this fight. Extremes are more just, hard telegraphs. Tower phase, so you have to, what we say, soak the towers. You want to be in them when they go off. If they don't, then they will blow up and people will take damage, and you'll get a damage up debuff. If you notice, for some reason on the back right, no one took that tower, so it is going to blow up and give us a stack of vulnerability. I don't know why. Like, there's not one tower for everybody. There's room to split up. You can see here now the Wyvern Milk or Wilk or whatever crystals have appeared. When these get hit by the outgoing burst, they are going to blow up, so you just have to be mindful of where they're going to be. This is a pretty easy phase, though. It's just alternating towers with some AoEs. You just want to make sure that you're not getting hit by one of the AoEs going out and you're not overlapping with another player. But this is the kind of stuff I really like. I guess it works with MMOs more than an action game like Monster Hunter because you don't physically need to always be next to the monster. You just have to be within range to hit it. I'm playing a ranged job, a dancer, which means I can attack from pretty darn far away, but melee jobs would have to be much closer in order to hit the monster. It's just a sort of division of roles. They do more DPS or more damage, but they have to be closer, and the ranged players do less damage, but they do a more support role. They can buff people, and you do get the benefit of being further out. Slightly less defense, though. Here, this is a hugely telegraphed attack, so it's pretty easy. He's just going to rotate his laser all the way down here, and then they're just going to try to make you panic by putting all these individual AoEs, and you want to make sure you're just not overlapping with where the actual player is standing. In these games, your player is actually like a pixel, and so you don't necessarily have to be... it's not always matching the visual of what you're seeing on screen. But yeah, like this, it's a fun fight. At this point, they're just doing repeat mechanics, just in some different orders. So it's just kind of like a review. Make sure you know what's going on before we hit the midway point, which is the first sort of big mechanic outside of towers, which is this sort of, I think they're calling them exoflares, you would refer to these. Basically, they're AoEs that travel. So they're going, they start in, they're going out, and then they'll come back in. And if you notice, at the same time, you need to pay attention to the boss because he is going to be doing some attacks. One of the nice things here, though, is that in Final Fantasy XIV, you always see a cast bar, so you know the name of what the monster is going to do. But for the Monster Hunter monsters, you don't get that because they are a living, breathing monster. So you kind of just have to pay attention to either the telegraph marks here or the body motions of the monsters. But it is a very scripted fight this time. Like, he's doing the same attacks in the same order. There are some variations, like is he going to hit left or right? But the variations are not that extreme, at least in the normal fight. So it's pretty comfy, good fun, good expression of the monster. He's going to hit somebody with the tail here, and if you're not like in the middle, he'll knock you into the wall, and that wall is a death wall. If you touch it, you die instantly. So you just need to make sure that you don't accidentally touch it. So that's the hunt. It's very cool. There's a whole lot of different items you can exchange for. Housing items, the whole hope set. There's weapons for all 14 classes. Some are taking the direct designs from Arkveld. Some are more custom. Very cool. and lots of goodies that we can get, much more than the goodies that we have in Monster Hunter. Now I'm going to show you the extreme fight because this is really the bread and butter of what people are going to be farming and doing. So with extreme fights, these are not nearly as hard as Savage. They're kind of stuff that the normal person could do with just enough practice and repetition. The best way of thinking about it is the extreme hunts in the MMO is more like an advanced version with some extra variation and just quicker, faster execution, more punishing damage, where Savage fights are like, you know, full-on mechanics where you have to really pay attention to everything that's going on, which debuff, who got what, and, you know, there's a lot more coordination. So if you notice for the Arkveld, for his extreme version, he always does a double hit. So he'll telegraph the first one by raising up his hand, and then you'll need to dodge out the second. There's also these light party markers. Basically, the 8 people need to split up and discuss beforehand which group they're going to be in, either group 1 or 2. And there's going to be set positions, whether it's going to be east and west or north and south, of where those groups are going to want to go during those stacks. So you can see here they're just complicating it, so that everyone needs to be coordinated. He's doing the same attacks he does in normal, but they're adding in the stacking mechanic. And now he's going to do his slam, where this would just be it in the normal. We now need to scoot over to the other side because he's going to do a double. Just things to catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. Remember, you still have to do, you know, you're running your skill wheel, the global cooldown. You want to make sure you're not dropping anything. You have combos. You're trying to heal, hit defensive at the same time. So it's kind of a dance and test of your patience. Like, how much can you do at one time? I did turn off all the effects so that you can actually see what's going on, but sometimes people have all the effects on, and the screen is just mayhem. You can't tell what the heck's going on. So for this one, same mechanic as the normal one, but what they're going to do is they're going to do a half arena cleave afterwards. So you need to sort of check on where he's looking at, where that target is, and stand in a safe spot. This team had good mitigation and healing, and also just well geared. So a lot of the people survived even a mistake. And the extremes are very nice. If you get hit by a mechanic, you just get what they call a vulnerability stack, which just means that you take increased damage for the next 60 seconds. And you can get more than one if you mess up more and more mechanics. But it's not like hugely reduced damage. You get that if you die, and that could definitely make it so that you fail the DPS check. Because this hunt is scripted, and so once it goes through the entire hunt, it'll hit what they say is the Enrage, which is a final big cast, and then they'll just instantly kill everybody. So there is a DPS check element within this one. No Nursilla for us, though. Just the Arkveld for the extreme in this one. Towers are a little bit more complicated. We're now not just getting one AoE, we're getting 3, and they're being baited underneath players. So in order to get back to your tower, this is a very light puzzle mechanic here. You want to bait it on the tower first, then away and away so that you can run back and take the tower that doesn't have the AoE in it. Because if you have the AoE on the tower, you're going to die. And here it's the same attack as before, but now they're mixing in some variations of people having AoEs. So you want to make sure that you are not overlapping with somebody, like physically, like underneath their pixel, and you're dodging in these explosions as they come out in the direction of the arrows. Fun mechanic. I like these things. I think you would refer to those as exo flares. It's just in FF14 there's this funny thing where they historically will just call the type of attack by the very first attack name that it was given. So it'll be like, no matter what the actual skill name is, it'll always be called that. Now this video is not a guide or anything, but I do want to explain the one mechanic, the big hurdle for people to get over, just so you can get an idea of the type of gameplay and fun that we get in these fights in Final Fantasy XIV. This is a type of mechanic that the community nicknames Limit Cut, just because that was the name of the skill when it first appeared way back when. But basically, randomly, all 8 players will get knocks above their head, showing which order they're going to be attacked. If you notice here, I have 2, which means I'm going to be the second one to get attacked. There is a tether from boss to the first player. If you don't get far enough away where that line is purple, because right now it's pink, it means that you will die. So you've got to stretch it to get farther enough away so when he pounces on you, it doesn't kill you. And what he will do is he'll jump, he'll hit you, do a 180, and then the side of right now his right hand is up in the air. His right hand is going to cleave half the arena. So it's kind of a puzzle mechanic. You got to figure out how do you do it so that everybody else doesn't get hit by that half room AoE because it will kill them. And then he alternates. So like then he'll jump to the next person, do a 180 and hit with the next hand. So it's like left in and right and out. So there's a bunch of different methods, but this is the easiest one. It's just a clockwise or counterclockwise method so that his arm that is swinging outside is always pointed outwards so no one gets hit. Just take some quick calculation saying, okay, am I starting on the left or right? Are we going clockwise or not? Get into your positions. Here comes the first one. He's going to hit, turn, and swipe. And then he's going to come at me, hit, turn, and swipe. And I went the wrong direction. And I got myself creamed. But they rose me, which is good. I get myself back here. But this is a cool method. They're calling the diamond method. Just means that you've got your one roll to do, and after that, everyone else can just stay middle and hit the boss. It's a fun mechanic. I like the puzzle solving that's involved and just sort of trying to figure out, do you bait him left or right, depending on which wing is up and stuff like that. And now we get to the second half of the fight, which is really just the advanced versions of everything we've learned up until now, with some really neat twists. So here's the towers again. We just saw this, so we're just going to bait on the tower, get down and away. And here comes one sort of difference. Instead of doing the inside AoEs that are going to be coming out, he's got now a laser that he's going to be doing. You notice one player is marked with the laser, and they need to bait it in a way that it's not going to hit everybody else in the group. So the way to solve this is not that hard. You just have the player who's being targeted, which is random, run all the way to the other corner, just like in the... Oops. I dashed into the wall and died. That was a mishap because, yeah, I'm not going to make excuses. I don't know what I did. What they say in FF, I fat-fingered it. I accidentally hit the button for the wrong skill. But yeah, it's neat. So it's the same mechanic, but they're having the players do the part of it that the game was doing earlier. So there's lots of room for error, and it's just satisfying once you know the mechanic. So here we are, just pounding him, getting ready for his next big mechanic, which is the AoEs, the in and out. So this one is a lot more complicated than it was in the normal one, or at least it looks like that, right? So you've got these two rows moving out in different directions. He's going to telegraph an attack here, so you have to pay attention. All the while, you have to be doing your damage. I make some really dumb mistakes in this part. You'll notice that I get hit. Luckily, I didn't die. But the way that the telegraphs happen in this game is that it's called snapshotting, because it is a server and has to resolve everything server end, not client side. So when you see the orange sort of like telegraph of where it's going to hit, if you are outside of that orange, the second it disappears, you're safe. Visually, you can walk right into the explosion afterwards, and you won't be hit. It's basically snapshotting everybody at the very end of when that line disappears, and anybody who was in it is going to get damaged. It's a weird thing that you have to get used to when you go to an MMO. Like, you know, you can walk through a boss because they don't have like a physical body that stops you, which is interesting. A tank could be like anywhere and still get hit from the monster because it's not about the animation, like being hit by the actual tail. It's just being in a zone and getting hit. It's different. It takes some getting used to, but you know, I like it. So this one's fun. So they do the group stack, and then it does this huge AoE, which causes everybody to have to panic. Because if you're just sitting there like, okay, oh, I'm gonna heal up, I'm okay now. Like, see, I got caught off guard. I can't believe I didn't die there though. The Mega Potions again are a cool mechanic. It takes the pressure off the healers, which I really like, and I hope they add this in normal boss fights because it is nice. So at this point, it's just going to be a sort of remix of existing attacks, and you're just going to have to do a lot of damage so that by the end of the time limit, you're able to take down his health before he hits his quote-unquote enrage, which will end the fight in defeat. We managed to do it just fine here, which is great. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed being able to see how they translated this monster into FF14's MMO system of a fight. I find this stuff really fun and interesting. Maybe, this is when I talk about I like some of these mechanics, and I would love to see them integrated into Monster Hunter sometimes. Just like Zoshia with like the diamond, like just bigger telegraphed attacks that really give a more grandiose feel to the monster and requires you to be more situationally aware is stuff that I find fun. I wouldn't want every monster to have it, but Anyways, let me know down in the comments below if you thought this was a cool collab, if you feel the FF got the better end of the deal or Monster Hunter. I think they both have their different pros and cons. Listen to the Third Fleet podcast, which will be coming out soon on Rurikon's channel, to hear our deep thoughts about it. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed seeing this hunt. Until next time, happy hunting.